back in Baltimore, Maryland, here at Rams Head on StarCast 4 on Fight TV. What an incredible day it's been here at StarCast 4. Still to come, Jim Crockett breaks that silence. That's coming up at 7 p.m. tonight. Tomorrow, here on Fight TV at StarCast 4, the Great Muta, the Women of World Championship Wrestling, the history of Baltimore wrestling, and Ron Simmons. That's all tomorrow here on StarCast 4 in Baltimore. But Mark, right now, we're about to go inside the Rhodes.
Scott Hudson, Baltimore, Maryland, bright lights, big city. We got Jim Crockett later breaking that 30-year silence. We got Full Gear tomorrow night, AEW at the Royal Farms Arena. But right now, it's inside the Rhodes. You got Dustin Rhodes, the former Gold Dust, having a great run near the end of his career. He's been so good on AEW TV. You got Brandy Rhodes. We knew she was lovely, but in AEW, she's proving she's multifaceted, talented in so many ways. And then what can I say about Cody Rhodes? He is the #1 babyface in wrestling today. The money promo Wednesday night on AEW TV. The payoff tomorrow night at Full Gear against Chris Jericho in the main event. It's cliche to say how proud Dusty Rhodes would be, but part of me says it can't be said enough.
Absolutely right. Mark, you and I were fortunate enough to work with the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, for all of those years in World Championship Wrestling. And of all things Dusty Rhodes was proud of, he was proudest of his kids.
No question. And if he is indeed looking down like we like to think he is the most enthusiastic fan. I'm sure he'd tell Cody, son, getting to the top's one thing, staying there is even harder. Yeah. But if there's one guy in today's wrestling equipped to stay at the top, it's Cody Rhodes.
Wait no further. Let's go inside the Rhodes with the host of Inside the Ropes. Here is Kenny McIntosh.
I just want to say, I did not come up with the name Kenny McIntosh Goes Inside the Rhodes. Just so you know, I would have come up with a cleaner name. For anyone who's confused, I just want to let you know, my weird accent is because I'm from Scotland. So I live about 30 minutes from where Drew McIntyre lived. This is going to...
Nobody can understand a fucking word you're saying.
I had a whole bit prepared. Are you guys ready to go inside the Rhodes?
Inside the what?
Rhodes. Not ropes. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, one of them's here, two of them are coming. Please give it up for Cody, Brandy, Dustin Rhodes!
Come on out, Cody!
My entrance, a piece of this fur is in my eye, and I took an eye drop, and it had like some burning properties to it. I'm dying. I can't see at all, but I'll be good. Thanks, guys. How are you?
Brandy Rhodes, everybody.
We got a doctor. Is there a doctor here? Anybody No, Britt's not a real doctor. Well, I guess she went to dental school. She's a doctor.
No, she's not.
All right. How about
She's
Kenny?
a
Do you
liar.
guys know Kenny? Oh, dude, this guy makes us come over. You got to go to Ireland. You got to go to Scotland. You got to go to England. He does all the inside the ropes. If you guys haven't seen it, very, very... Oh, they can't see it. You got to be there to see it, basically.
You got to fly and come and see us.
So good. So good. It's great. I don't know. I can't really sell it because you guys aren't going to be there, but
and this guy,
it's very good.
This guy actually wrestles on Wednesday nights. This little show called AEW. So if you get a chance, check it out. It's pretty good.
You guys having a good time? Hell yeah.
So this is a weird interview set up with the whole family. So we're going to kind of ask you all different questions. Cody, I've got to start with you. because last Wednesday, a couple of nights ago, you did the promo which some people are calling your Hard Times promo. You did that interview on Wednesday night. Everybody's been praising it. Even The Rock tweeted you about it. How do you
He
feel about it?
did? I know.
How do you feel about it now? We're a couple of days removed. Where does that promo now stand in your eyes?
When we were doing the meet and greet earlier, I was telling a lot of people the strangest thing about the interview from Wednesday was she hates that I bring this up. But it's true.
It's so weird.
But
to
it's
tell
true. See these speakers on the stage? So I can hear myself talking to you guys. In the ring, we don't have the speakers. WWE, they typically stack the speakers up in the corner, and you can hear yourself fully. So in Charlotte, I couldn't hear myself. So I was getting louder because I was passionate about what I was saying, but also couldn't hear myself at all. But I was really, I'm glad it was well received, and I think promos and interviews and communication on every TV should be like that. But it was really nice because Dustin was at the bottom of the steps, and Brandy was at the bottom of the steps, and Tony Khan. It's really rare with this crew, with the Elite and with AEW, to get the go position, the locker room, like, great job. We don't like to compliment each other at all. So that was really special. Your peers respect and the fans respect. I'm just happy people are still talking about what happened on Wednesday nights. I think that was the goal with AEW in the first place.
And
Yeah.
we're 24 hours away from Full Gear.
I got a hole in my pants. Can you guys see this? I just realized. Damn it. I'll just do this all day.
We're 24 hours away from Full Gear. People say that realism in wrestling is what makes it the best. So with that in mind, does any part of it bother you that Jericho tries to take credit for AEW?
I mean, no, because it's so far from the truth. He's a huge part. I'll give you an example. When he signed, not only a few of us knew who had seen the paperwork, and when he walked by folks in Jacksonville, he walked by MJF. I'm going to throw Max under the bus a little here. And he walked by MJF, and MJF literally was like, like starstruck by Chris. So that's a huge, he crossed the line. He made the decision. He made the call to take the bet, but to me, the bet was already a sure thing. All In had already happened. The revolution that everyone will try to tell you isn't real, but it is. It had already happened. I'm really grateful for what Chris has done, but when he says that, I think that's just Chris being Chris.
I want to move on to you, Brandy, because your partnership with Awesome...
It's about time. Jesus.
Yeah, dog.
Your partnership with Awesome Kong is interesting.
We good? Is that you, chicken?
That wasn't me.
All right. Wow, has Conrad got multiple mics? Are you guys Conrad people? You like Conrad? I'm going to tell you, I like him, but he's shady as hell, dog. Like,
Stealing your thunder already.
I'm sorry, all right. He's a good guy. I like him, but he was like, you got 200 people for your meet and greet. No way.
It's about
It felt like 400.
475.
It was
or
insane. Oh,
something.
no, it's definitely 200. You know, like, I don't know.
That's a
I love him,
promotion.
though. Love him.
All right, you're done
I'm
for
done.
now.
Thank you. So, Brandy, your partnership with Awesome Kong is pretty interesting. Awesome Kong, it seemed like she had left wrestling, she wasn't going to be involved anymore, and now she's primed with you in AEW. Why Awesome Kong?
Kong has meant everything to me in wrestling from day one. When I went to FCW, that was where I was sent to go train in the beginning of all of this maniacal stuff. And I knew who she was, and she was there, just sitting around, and no one was talking to her, and I thought that was the weirdest thing ever. So I said, well, I don't know how to do anything else, so I'll just go talk to her and, you know, see how she is, and she's cool. And she was very quiet and, friendly but quiet. So I said, oh, well, I did my piece there. Then she went and warmed up and got in the ring, and she said, hey, come get in here. And I was like, okay, I don't know how to wrestle. I don't know how to do anything. And she was like, you want to learn something? I was like, absolutely, yeah. If anybody is going to show me how to do anything, I want this girl to. And she taught me my first, whole wrestling sequence. It was abysmal, but I enjoyed it so much, and I never forgot that. She's the first person, being of the tenure that she was, to step aside and say to some girl who just got there off of a modeling contract, hey, get in the ring with me. I'm going to teach you something. So I always thought his dad actually was going to pair us together to skyrocket me out of FCW as her manager. And, things didn't work out with her. She ended up stepping away from the business, but that was my ticket. I lost it in her. But I always figured if there's ever a way to get back there, to see that play out, the original kind of idea of me and her being together, I would love to see that. And I didn't know it would come across this way, but this is how it is. So it's great.
So I want to ask you a tough question, potentially. So one of the, a big part of AEW is the alternative, the alternative to what else is out there. And one of the big criticisms in WWE had been the Stephanie McMahon character. She was sometimes a good guy, sometimes a bad guy. You can give us some thoughts if you like.
Go on.
Brandy loves the Stephanie McMahon character.
And
She loves it.
So, but I want to talk to you because when you went into AEW, just when the pay-per-views were on before TV, you're with Cody in his matches, and he's a big fan favorite. And then you're with Awesome Kong as you guys are destroying people. Was there a conflict there? Because now you're kind of going it alone. How do you feel about that in terms of being, I guess, babyface and heel at the same time? Does it matter? Where do you stand with that?
If we're going to use that terminology, I have never been a babyface. I'm not a babyface. I'm not a likable person. I'm an asshole. Everything I do out there in the ring is horrible. I hit Sammy Guevara with a shoe. I speared my own brother-in-law, caused him to bleed. So
She's a baby face in the streets and a heel in the sheets, y'all. Oh, now make him say, oh.
I guess that would be a good way to say it. Yes. I'm a
Sex.
baby face in the streets. So then basically we could Robert California this and say that everything wrestling is sex.
Yeah.
Because I'm always a heel.
It's an undeniable fact, right, chicken?
Everybody say, ah.
A Robert California reference, I'm dead. The headlines tomorrow. So, Dustin, I want to bring you in here. You've decided to sit over this side. So, obviously, with you being in AEW, we talked the last time about the match with Cody at Double or Nothing. You were part of the Monday Night Wars. You worked for both companies. Now there's a Wednesday Night War in fans' eyes. What are the main differences between the late 90s when there were two shows on the same night and now? What are the big differences?
I look forward to going every Tuesday, getting on the plane and coming to AEW. Everybody there is so excited and passionate about what we are doing and wanting to work their asses off to put out the best product that we possibly can for you, the fans. It is something else to watch, but make no mistake, it is a war. Deep down, it is. But we have to keep weekly putting out the very best television that we can. And those 2 hours and then the AEW Dark, we are killing it, man, every single week. And it's exciting to be involved and a part of that.
And I mean, the thing that a lot of people have talked about today on stage and backstage was the creative freedom. How important do you think it is for AEW that talent are allowed to, Darby Allin talked earlier on, the fact that he's able to be him was a big selling point in coming here. Like, how important is that?
It is very important because we're all artists, in a sense, right? So if you take part of our creative away from us, we don't feel it. We're not feeling it while we're performing or doing it. But when nobody is breathing down your neck and telling you, you need to say this, you need to say that, and you go out there and you just organically, it grows and it's real. It becomes real for the fans, and they feel that. And you, deep down inside, you're like, wow, man, they didn't shackle me from expressing my true self here, you know, and actually going out there and being artistic. And it's awesome that we aren't scripted, that we do things that are real, and that we say things that are real. And that's what I love about it. And I love these kids now. They're getting behind the camera, and as you all know, I'm their promo coach. And I love to watch them, and they've never talked before really to like an audience or in front of a camera. And they start out, and you can see them so nervous and looking at the camera and thinking about what to say. And it's important that they step outside of that comfort zone and just actually become something that they're scared to do, you know, and they see it. And they see it after 4 or 5 takes, and they're like, oh man, that was so cool. I see the difference there because I see it in their eyes. I see it in their soul, you know, and the fans can see that, and they can feel that. And that's important. It's important not to shackle the talent and let them express themselves.
And Cody, speaking about something that Dustin touched on, you know, you guys must have known that WWE were going to counter in some way when you guys announced there was going to be a Wednesday night show. And they, you know, then announced they're going to do NXT on the same night. We're 6 weeks in. You guys have won the rating every single week for the 6 weeks. How did you guys deal with that? I mean, this is to all of you. How did you guys deal with that when you find out that's what they're doing? And what's the kind of strategy week to week? Because I guess in some ways it might be hard to not get bogged down in the what are they doing versus what we're doing. How do you guys handle that?
We can never become a reactionary wrestling show. I think that would lose I think if we become reactionary, we lose the whole identity of what people joined and what people signed up for when all the way back, dating back to All In, when they went all in on us and validated that we said, hey, this is real, it's gonna happen, and then the next one, and the next one. So we can't be reactionary. Obviously, if you hear like, oh, they're gonna use this big star and things of that nature, you don't want to be blind to it. But if we're reactionary, we're not doing the right thing, and then you start doing ratings ploys where we need to put this guy on here because this is on here, and that's not. We've just got to be AEW. There was a NXT on in the go position the other day, and I asked that it be turned off because it's not for us. And to their credit, I think the ratings were like 822 and 814 this week. A lot of people are watching wrestling on Wednesday nights. Yeah. You know, and I think as long as we don't do reactionary, and as long as we have a focus on the new cast, and the new cast is guys like MJF and Darby Allin and Luchasaurus and Riho, and if we focus on the new cast, then we're just doing what we said we were going to do the whole last year, all these promises, and that's vastly, vastly important to me. I think we're going to keep cruising, and Wednesday nights are going to be destination television. I know that they put themselves up against us, but they were on Wednesday nights first, to be honest, on the network. Different, you know. I'm going to stop talking because I don't know if have you guys come to a StarCast before? All right, well, everyone was briefed before we came out. The last 2 times, I have said some stupid stuff. And, it lives in infamy. Like, terrible one-liners. So I'm just trying to get through this one without any controversy. Just, I know.
Do you want to just get your controversial comment out of the way now?
I don't know what it is, though. Like, what would I... I don't know what it is, but it'll probably happen. We'll get some controversy. It's you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I got to be careful, though.
One of the things that you guys, and this is to everybody, one of the things that you guys have done differently is that it kind of feels that there's somebody for everybody. Like, if you're a young girl, you can look up to Riho. If you're, you want to fancy a younger guy. There's Sammy Guevara there who's in his 20s or whatever. There's seems to be people for everybody. Is that a concerted effort?
I was trying to kind of respect your direction you were going, but all I caught from that was that you fancy Sammy
No.
Guevara.
Tell Kenny tell everybody the Sammy Guevara extra story.
Yeah. Sammy Guevara, I'll try to make this brief. Justin Roberts was talking to me the other day, and he says, hey, did you ever talk to Sammy about the story when he had his WWE tryout? I said, no, why? Who cares? And he's like, oh, well, he was real cocky and, went in there just balls to the wall and walked into Vince's office and said, and something about that did something in my mind, and I said, wait a minute, was I working there when he had his tryout? And he said, yeah, definitely. I said, okay, hang on. Then I went and found Sammy, and I said, hey, Sammy. I said, you had a WWE tryout. Was I working there when you did? And he said, yeah. I said, did we meet backstage when you did? And he said, oh, yeah. I said, and I shook your hand, right? And he said, yeah. And I said, and then what did you do? And he was like, oh, I shook your hand? I said, no, you winked at me. And you offended the hell out of me. And I remember, to this day, I was so pissed about that. Because why on earth would you just wink at the married lady backstage when you're this up-and-coming guy? I was so pissed. I talked to so many people about it. I was like, I shouldn't be pissed about this, right? But I'm really pissed. And so I was like, literally, you came up to me, did this, and he's like, I'm so sorry. I probably did. And I didn't know, at that point in time, I didn't know that you were married. And I'm like, bullshit, dude. You just did that. Makes perfect sense, though.
He shot his shot,
If you know anything about Sammy Guevara.
The Spanish god, right?
That's he thinks. That's what he thinks.
He's not even Spanish.
100%.
He's not Hispanic.
There's your line. He's not even Spanish.
Not even
That's
Spanish.
That's it.
Yeah, I don't think he's Cuban, is he? Are you sure? Okay.
He's half Cuban.
Does he speak Spanish, though?
Yeah, that's the thing. My mother's half Cuban, and she has a southern accent and doesn't understand Spanish. She makes those Sammys, though, those good Cuban Sammys. Yeah.
Cuban Sammys?
Yeah, well, whatever.
Inside the Rhodes.
Wow. Wow.
So was there a concerted effort from you guys to make sure that in AEW, no matter who you are, there's somebody for you when you watch the show, rather than it being a bunch of people who look the same, a bunch of people who are for the same?
Yeah, I mean, that's the strategy, I suppose, is the biggest key to the success of AEW and its future success and where it goes is the old adage of talent getting over. That's what has to happen. It's not marketing. It's not the commercial space that Warner Media gives us. It's not, if the talent doesn't get over, the best production in the world cannot help them. So with that in mind, the seeds need to be laid for people to identify in all different people to identify in Nyla Rose, people to identify in Jungle Boy, people to identify, you have to identify with these people. It's just, so that's why we try to, if you look at what the world looks like today and how diverse and wonderful we can be, that's what a wrestling show representing the world should look like. All walks of life. That's how it's always, when done right, that's how wrestling should be. And I think we're trying to do that, and hopefully we're doing a good job at that.
And Brandy, I wanted to ask you about Nyla Rose, because Nyla Rose has been a force in AEW so far, and there is that kind of minority that gives her shit, and it's just really uncalled for. But there's such a great place for someone like her who can be a kind of pioneer in pro wrestling. Can you talk a little bit about signing Nyla Rose and her being in AEW?
Yeah, honestly, when it came to signing a lot of women, there was just a lot of conversation about different talent. A lot of people weren't familiar with a lot of these newer talents just because some of them haven't been mainstream before. So Nyla's name was brought up, and I remember watching some, video of her, some stuff that she'd done in Japan and on other, smaller indies here and there. And one thing that I noticed about her was that it didn't matter who she was in the ring with. it always seemed to tell a compelling story. Like I seemed to want to watch the whole match, no matter which one it was that I had put on. So then I thought, well, yeah, that's somebody that we're looking for. Somebody who, they could work with the Joshi talent, they could work with a newer talent, they can work with established talent. It doesn't matter. They're just good at what they do. And then, enter Nyla, and the story has become what it's become now, with everybody thinking that there are all these different motives as to why someone was hired or whatever. At the end of the day, she's a very skilled competitor, and she's done an amazing job. Her match that she had with Rio for the championship was one of the better matches I've ever seen in women's wrestling, period, end of story. But it is very interesting to me that people continue to try to put labels here, there, and everywhere. And I think that's just people's insecurities. They need to find a reason to cover their own insecurities, and whether they want to say that somebody belongs or they don't belong, that's on them. If you want to spew that bullshit into the world, go right ahead. No one's listening to you. Yeah. You can't take away from a competitor that they're a good competitor because you don't like something about them. She's good.
Nyla Rose is doing excellent. Okay? And there are people out there that are doing what they do. Well, they can shove that stuff up their ass. Because this is AEW. We are different, and we are here to put on the best possible show each week that we can with all walks of life. And we're doing it every single week. So Nyla Rose, the native beast, is here to stay, and you've just begun to see her. So we got some big things planned for her.
So Dustin, obviously we can't help but see the cast on your arm, the work of Sammy Guevara and Jake Hager. How are you feeling? How's the arm, and have you got revenge planned?
Of course, man. Revenge will be sweet. I promise you that.
What do you make of them? They're trying to make a name for themselves. They're trying to kind of use you in a pawn in Jericho's game with Cody. Like, how are you feeling about it?
Before this, the few weeks before, I watched Sammy a lot, and I like him. He is going to be something special in our business. He really is. But what him and Hager did to me was kind of uncalled for. And Sammy just kind of standing outside of the circle there and vlogging this whole thing live. It's pretty low, man. And, we're there. I'm supporting my brother because he's out there. He's in the biggest fight of his life tomorrow night. And they got to pull their stuff in the back. I promise you revenge will be sweet. It will.
Well, little detour, just because we could bury the inner circle a great deal up here, but I'll actually tell you a funny Sammy Guevara story from me. Well, a lot of time has been spent on Sammy Guevara, so let's just tell this story. Anyways. I did an independent loop. This is before I'd even started really with Ring of Honor. I was just going to like a different independent every Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And it was a little different than my WWE schedule because I wasn't driving. It was a flight every morning to get to these different places in the U.S., sometimes international. Last show of the weekend was Corpus Christi, and it was against Sammy, who I knew nothing about. I just didn't do my homework, admittedly, knew nothing other than the promoter said he's very good, and I think you guys will have a good thing. And the last day, like two flights already, I'm beat up, and the main thing with those independents, it's not the match as much as it's the meet and greet. You want to meet everybody there, and then the match is almost secondary on some independents. So this was this beautiful Corpus Christi family-run show, and they were giving away charity bikes right before the main event. And I thought, this is just going to be a fun main event. Just, this is clearly a family show. And I just, again, didn't do my research. It's my own fault. I gave Sammy Guevara a tackle, and he nipped up. Again, family show. 20 minutes ago, they had just given away bikes to families in need. He nipped up and just looked at me and goes, fuck you, as loud as possible. And you can literally see me. You can look it up on YouTube. I back up into the corner, utter confusion. Like, and the whole match was volatile F word, shot, like fake shooting, like just terrible. And you can see, if you look it up, I had no clue. I didn't do my research. So that was my introduction to Sammy, and he's been the same charming guy ever since.
Sammy Guevara, do I
Yeah.
applaud that? I want to ask you guys as well, something that you guys did recently which was really kind of commendable was there was a show in the UK that were doing their final show, and they were supposed to have some talent on there that were pulled.
Hold up. Riho, come on up here. Come up here. Come.
Riho.
Ladies and gentlemen, the AEW Women's World Champion, Riho. Yay!
Sit, please, Riho. Sit down.
Riho, are you going to win tomorrow night? You going to win? Yeah. Imi is your former teacher, right?
Yes, teacher, my teacher.
Are you excited?
Yeah, nervous.
They love you.
Thank you.
Riho, are you going to kick her ass?
Yeah?
Yes.
Ah! Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I saw you trying to sneak out of here.
AEW Women's Champion Riho, everybody!
She was
I
just
like
trying
that.
to sneak out.
I like that dress she got on. She's
The
looking
champ.
kind of my vibe today.
The
Dark
champ is here.
lace.
Champ is here.
But you guys, when talent was pulled from a UK show, you guys went of your own volition to fix that show, and you guys didn't have to, and it just kind of spoke to a lot of fans that you guys went over to do that. Can you talk a little bit about the decision to do that and to help out?
I had done Southside UK was the independent. I'd done a show with them before, and they were nice. It was a family-owned business they were really nice independent that actually drew incredibly well. I wrestled Pete Dunne there, and it was like 900 people, standing room only. It was this really cool environment. And Stevenage, is that how you pronounce it? And just outside of London. And it was a bummer, when they lost, I think it was Kaylee. They lost Kaylee, they lost Ligero. They lost some of their homegrown stars because they were part of the NXT UK retainer deal. So, of course, it came across as like the biggest PR stunt. But really, I even told the promoter, I said, we just want to help. I'm not going to promote a single anti-WWE social post. That's not what I'm here to do. I want to come and we'll do the meet and greet, and we'll take care of our own travel, and we'll even have a match. And then he negotiated a second match with, so as all promoters get a little bit more. But I felt I wanted to do it for a couple reasons. I wanted to announce Anthony Ogogo as somebody we had signed, and he's our first developmental sign. We don't have a developmental center, but we have Dustin Rhodes, we have Dean Malenko, we have all these great coaches at our disposal who can train somebody on the road from the ground up, and he's an Olympian boxer. Like, we want all walks of life. It's great to go to every independent and cherry pick, but that was something that Bill Watts did and Dusty did, and all the great promoters. They would find these great athletes, and then you can't force them to fall in love with wrestling. But in the case of Anthony Ogogo, he already fell in love. So I wanted to announce him, and selfishly, I wanted to make up for something I had said at StarCast, where I had said how great our UK deal was for AEW. Fast forward, it actually is very good, and it's offered in different platforms, including on Fight if you want it right away. But I wanted to make up for that because I was on this stage, like I am now, and I opened my big mouth, and the clip just gets run over and over. And I wanted them to know, if you've ever been to the UK, the wrestling fandom there is amazing. They love it. They love the history of it. It's what you call, as a promoter, it's a guarantee when you go to the UK. It's a guarantee that they're going to have a great time. And I really want to make AEW strong over there because Tony Khan, the owner and the founder of AEW, he lives over there half the time. He knows that world. And then we have Pac, and we have Kip, and we have Jimmy. We want them to be able to wrestle home. So I just selfishly wanted to fix my dumbass when I came up here and, ran my mouth per usual. But it was a great experience. We had fun. My associate producer, who was my assistant, and then he got promoted, and he's not my assistant anymore.
He's back there.
He's standing back there. QT, come on up stage.
QT, come on.
QT.
Come on, buddy.
He got to wrestle a match, and it was fun to see because he's one of the best trainers in all of wrestling. He trains at a school in Norcross, and he's been in this industry for a long time. And QT, give him a hand, guys. This is QT Marshall. QT Marshall. What a terrible Halo player, though. Terrible. Just garbage. All right. Big weekend for you.
Huge, yeah.
You want to tell them what's happening on your agenda?
Okay, yeah, we have the pay-per-view tomorrow, which is awesome. And then Sunday I fly to Dallas, and Monday morning at 5:15 a.m. I go for a hair transplant.
Whoa! So, I guess I didn't understand how hair plugs work, because I know my Zack Ryder, he's got hair plugs, and I just thought that was his hair. Well, no, I mean, come on.
Wait. There's some things that you just don't tell
Well, it
everybody.
hasn't been proven yet.
Guys, if people go bald, it's not a terrible thing.
But
It's
some
okay.
people just have certain elements.
Cena's got hair plugs, right?
Has he?
Yeah, you seen him on that Delta magazine? He's got, come on.
Hang on. This is that moment.
He
This
said
is
his
that
controversial
moment
thing.
where you gotta stop.
Does he not? Okay,
Yeah,
guess
you gotta
what?
stop.
He doesn't.
Pump
He's
the
got
brakes, back
he's
up.
got a full beautiful head of hair. It's not okay, and Zach does too, right? Tommy Dreamer also. Anyways, okay. But I don't know how the plugs work, so I thought we would see him next week with hair down to his shoulders. But apparently,
That's not how it works.
you're bald first.
Yep, and then it takes, it's like a chia pet. That's the best way to describe it. They put the seeds in, it takes some months, and then, then all of this that's on the front of my head is transplanted from 2011.
We just got to get the rest.
Unfortunately, the rest just keeps falling out. The doctor says stress, but I work for Cody. There's no stress involved.
Oh yeah, right. It's the most stress.
The other day,
Robert California.
The other day,
right there.
This son of a bitch he said to me, he literally said it to my face. He goes, if I wasn't here, things wouldn't get done.
No. It
Terrible.
wasn't wrestling related.
But speaking of hair, because we're on hair, look at Kenny's hair. You got a full rich
Slick.
deal going on
Yeah,
there.
I'm jealous of that.
Slick
Slick.
back. Wow.
That took an hour. It took an hour.
Yeah.
But so when Cena got his done, did he take time off when he got his
Guys,
done?
I shoot.
Yeah, this is where
I shoot,
we've
don't know.
stepped in it.
No.
We've acknowledged it. We got the hose.
Ryder his are
Hosed it
plugs. But his looks
Stop.
great.
Stop, because I'm gonna get the messages from Zach.
Zach's hair
today.
looks great though,
So
doesn't
stop.
it? For Zach's hair.
Stop.
God.
Jesus.
Thank you, QT. You can leave now.
QT, everybody.
QT Marshall, baby. I'll see you at 8 o'clock.
But Zack Ryder always.
Hey,
used-
next time at the next StarCast, he'll have a full head of hair though, right? Is that
Yeah.
perfect? Yeah. All right, we'll have him in a wig. Whatever. We'll make it work.
Just thinking about the headlines from this, it's quite good. So, Brandy, I want to ask you, kind of about you and Cody together. When you guys took on the positions, you as Chief Brandy Officer, him as EVP, now we're in the thick of it. There's weekly TV. Is there parts of it that you didn't expect? Is it the way you thought it was going to be? What are the biggest challenges to it? Because you're both on-screen performers as well.
For me, it's exactly how I thought it would be. I do a lot every day. There's no days off. I'm working on, when we get home Thursday, I'm on calls. As soon as we land, when I'm on the flight, I'm on emails trying to, sorry, my, situation here. I'm just constantly busy, constantly have my hands in something, doing something, pitching something, whatever. The main thing I think is different than I thought it would be was the amount of time that I would have to be able to train as a wrestler. And kind of remedied that one too, because like he said, we've got all these fantastic coaches with us all the time. So I've started putting together some trainings on the road as well, so that nobody's feeling like they have to miss a beat. So if it sounds like no one ever sleeps, pretty true. I've become a really big fan of melatonin, and that's how I get sleep. And gummies, melatonin gummies.
Oh my God.
They got a lot of different ways to do melatonin. I've learned there's like a spray. You can have the stuff you put in your drink. Gummies. I'm a child. It's like Flintstone kids. I never got over it.
What is melatonin?
It's a sleep aid.
It's just It sounded so
It's
nefarious,
hard drugs.
Brandy. It sounded like
I'm
a
just
really
kidding.
hardcore thing.
Just kidding. No. The very mild sleep aid.
So I'm going to come back to you. I want to ask you a question. Since he just prodded me.
He just got jealous.
Yeah, chicken gets mad, dog.
Why do we call him chicken?
What I was going to do is go out here and get some questions from the audience.
Oh,
Wait
are we
a minute,
doing
I
that?
got a question though. Why do you call him chicken?
I don't know the origins of chicken, but the full name. Are there children in here? Yep, there's a kid.
You've already said the F word like three times.
The name is related to, it's a phallic, it's
chicken dick.
That's the full name, and I don't know the origin, but that is what everyone called him when, like all his old cronies, when he came back to WWE and we were there together.
Old cronies.
They would call him that, and I just got in the habit of calling him chicken, and a lot of guys say chicken, so it doesn't really make any sense.
Arn Anderson named me
Ah.
that, so it is stuck for good 25 years. But nobody calls me that except for like Cody now, and it's kind of cool.
Before you go into the crowd,
They're all looking in the
Before you go-
production meeting. Hold on, and they're like, Cody will say, "And chicken, you'll do this," and they'll look like, "Who the fuck is chicken?" You know, and they all look around, and he's looking right at me. I'm like, yeah, it's cool. I love it.
I want to ask you a quick, because there's like all this talk in wrestling just now about like the old generation, the new generation, people who think that new stuff isn't as good as old stuff or whatever. You're like this bridge gap in the middle where you've been in the old school, you're in the new school as well. How do you feel about that in terms of like, you know, when is there not enough selling? When is there too much selling? How do you kind of feel like wrestling is today?
I tell the young kids today that I tell them, without the old school, there is no new school. So you learn your basics. You take some of the new school today, you add that with the old school, and you have this nice little mix, and you can tell that story. And I try to teach that to them, and it's hard for some of them. But there's a happy medium that we can kind of get to, because people still love their wrestling and their old school wrestling and storytelling. And if they can go out there and do that without having to do 1,000 dives or flips or what, and are able to do that, then it's still good, you know? And that's what I look forward to teaching them. And I think they're doing an incredible job. I love it, because I've had to grow from my old school style to the new school style to hang with these younger kids, because they are getting faster and they are a lot younger than me, and I have to keep up, but I think I'm doing a pretty good job. We're going to take some questions now real quick.
Are you going in the crowd?
Yeah, apparently.
You lost
I'm not going to be able to
control.
stop him.
I don't know how much time we got, because we have a production meeting to go to, but okay, you, sir. What's your name and where are you from?
Brett from Allentown, Pennsylvania.
Good deal. What's your question?
So, Cody versus Dustin at Double or Nothing was definitely one of the best matches I've seen in a long time. Down the line, could we possibly see Cody versus Dustin too?
Absolutely not.
I would be open to it. No?
You already killed the attitude era, guy. Come on. Okay, sir. Where are you from?
DC, Josue from DC. And I want to know, will Dusty and Sunny Kiss tag again?
Dustin and Sunny Kiss definitely will tag again someday.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir. Question for Brandy or Cody?
Actually, first off, Cody, thank you for that promo on Wednesday night.
Thank you.
And everything here between you guys and everything with AEW, you've brought the love of pro wrestling back to me and probably everybody else here. It's a typical question. I know one of your buddies just signed another 5-year long deal with that one company. If there could be someone you would love to bring along here eventually, who would it be? And also for you, Brandy, female division-wise. I know we got a great division both ways, but there's also got to be eventually another name pop kind of thing.
You want to answer?
Yeah, I'll go ahead since, he already decided to yell an answer, and it was a good answer, so I'll let that one stand. But I would take Alexa Bliss in a heartbeat. I love Bliss.
Really?
I love her. Yeah. She's just...
I feel like
got
you've never
something.
mentioned Alexa Bliss ever, and then...
Well, maybe we're
She has
secret
the best
friends.
music, by the way. Have you ever heard it?
Yeah.
Bro.
No, it's
I
good.
think you should play it
Yeah.
for us.
No, it's dope.
She's also she's multi-dimensional talented.
It's a really good song, yeah. Literally the top of my playlist.
Who's your person?
Oh, are you saying from WWE?
I think anywhere.
The tricky thing if I say from WWE is then Vince will sign them for $18 million for
But
perpetuity.
that's a win for them anyway.
Yeah, so they would appreciate it. Gosh, I don't know because you have friends that you want to get your friends, but then you have people that you want to make money with. This is weird. I'm actually not going to say anyone from WWE. I'm going to just reiterate the answer that someone already yelled out, and it's another female, and that would be, I think Tessa Blanchard would be a good addition to things. I do.
Very quick, just to follow up on that, how do you feel about when Randy Orton was on Instagram with a placard saying the elite and sort of fueling the fires? For you guys, is that weird when they sort of use the AEW brand in a way to kind of put out there?
I love it.
I encourage it.
Yeah.
Honestly, because if they're feeling any way where they're starting to tip, I mean, these are people who do this. They're all very talented people, and they have big followings and stuff like that. Why not do something? Don't do nothing.
Listen.
Do something to showcase, hey, this is how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
There are these other options. I don't mind if people do that. Sometimes I know what they're doing when they do it, and I'll give them that little bit back because it's okay.
I'll say this. We're, as wrestlers, we're brothers and sisters as wrestlers. We really are. It doesn't matter what roof we're under. And the wrestling industry is if you compare it to other entertainment of comparable influence, like popular TV, where they're paid so much and they're unionized and they have so much to protect them and safeguards. One of the most exciting things about AEW is we've been able to raise the entire pay floor for the entire industry. So that if Randy wants to take a dumb photo on a elevator and tag people he doesn't even know in it, and if they're dumb enough to buy it and they pay him a certain amount, good for Randy Orton. You know what I'm saying? He's a good guy. He's got 20 kids now. I love him. I love Randy. I never got to beat him. Damn it.
Okay, here you go.
Real quick, we've talked about Tommy Dreamer's hair, Zack Ryder's hair, Cena's hair. We haven't mentioned Chris Jericho's bald spot. Is there a hair versus hair match coming up in anybody's future?
You wouldn't put your head on the line, no way.
I wouldn't allow it. I put my hair on the line before his.
Now you've kind of cursed me because now I'm just going to be looking at these men's heads. Who has this real hair?
Would you remember when Vince got his head shaved in 2007?
Yeah.
And it took 8 years for it to go back to the way it was before?
How about the fact that the extra who got his head shaved to show Vince what it would look like never grew his hair back? What a bummer.
And Vince
What a
didn't
bummer.
care.
What's up, chicken?
Travis from Rochester. So I was fresh off my first G1 viewing, watching you in a much more colorful suit in Chicago, and you were talking about bell-to-bell wrestling, and I was like, shit, yeah. All these guys are bell-to-bell wrestlers and stuff. So now we're 5-6 weeks into programming, and I've got all my friends amped up to come and watch this new programming. And surprisingly, I'm going, aside from a couple of guys, I'd like to get some story in here. Now, we had 25-minute long spots on the other side about randomness. We're going to see the fleshing out a little bit more of some of these new characters and some of these new guys as we go here.
I was going to answer, but you look like you were jumping.
So you're saying you're fickle.
Whoa.
I'm just messing with
No,
you, dude. No,
I-
go ahead, go ahead.
No,
Honestly,
it's-
you guys got some criticism over the Rick and Morty stuff. I texted my cousin about it.
Yeah.
I actually felt like that last episode, you guys were really hitting your stride.
Yeah.
She had her promo, your promo. There was some other stuff, and we're really starting to talk.
Okay, that's enough.
No,
Jesus.
no. You're
This guy's just picking it apart.
guys. Geez, your criticism of it is very valid. And originally, when we went into AEW, this is what I asked for, and yours is different than just getting interneted, where it's not real. It's just 3 people tweeting 300 times. To your question, we have to lead by example. So I went out and did an interview this week, and it was well received, and the standard has been set for the show. And Mox had set the standard the week before. Those are guys, and I'm not trying to be braggart or braggadocious. I feel okay with my ability to communicate. Now we have guys that need to follow suit, and it's all the young guys and young women we've talked about earlier, and you will see that, because if you look at the past 6 weeks, a lot of what's being talked about isn't always wrestling. It's these moments, and they're story moments like you're pointing out. So I think if we did hit our stride, hopefully we'll continue to hit it and add those into it. Bell to Bell is really wonderful if you're a diehard wrestling fan, for sure. And if you're not, you might need something to hook you in the first place, why you care about these people, why you dislike them, why you don't. So to answer your question, yes, we will. Yes, we will.
I wanted to just kind of follow up on that, because there is a lot of story stuff in AEW that maybe some stuff's on Dark or some stuff's on one of the YouTube shows. Is it maybe, because there's some people who might just watch the 2-hour Dynamite show and that's it. Is there maybe something in some sort of recap thing where we can be, if you like MJF, here's a 5-minute video about him like showing people where to go more? Is that maybe something that you think needs to happen?
I think we really hit the right spot, the right target when we were doing the Road 2 series, as far as the stories that are real and the personal interest in people. And I think the shoulder content, like Dark and like Being the Elite and like these pieces, Dynamite remains the hub. You only have to watch Dynamite, but I hope it encourages you to look into those areas for sure. Every week, I write what's called a debrief to the production and to the talent about what I thought we could do differently, and it's something we're actively doing. Dustin's been added as the promo coach. You've got all this wonderful stuff, so hopefully more character pieces, like on people that are, unfamiliar. Like I was saying earlier, we have to introduce the new cast.
I think we missed one question from the crowd
Yeah,
here.
Dustin walked right past this guy.
Sorry,
Looked at him,
guys.
too.
I'm getting older, so my eyes are going. Hold on. One more question, I think, because we have to go.
This is the final one? Give him a
This is
drum
the
roll,
final
guys.
one.
Give him a drum roll.
No pressure.
Make them say.
My question is, the thing I really like about AEW is it's an alternative, yes, but it feels like a lot of the new stars, such as Darby Allin, Riho, those people, it's happening organically, and I feel like that's something that WWE has missed. A lot of it's force-fed, to me, personally. Is that one thing that you and Tony discussed about changing to kind of not being so force-fed and force the, characters that we don't necessarily care about? I guess it's not the real proper word, but real new stars and everything. And my other question is when you kick Chris Jericho's ass, AKA stupid dick, tomorrow night, what brand of the bubbly are you going to be drinking?
Oh, wow. Wow. Great questions. Well, I'll start with the last one because it's a little bit easier because I know I'm going to beat Chris Jericho tomorrow night. I know it. I did a wine collaboration with a group in Walla Walla, Washington called Knocking Point. My friend Stephen Amell runs that winery. Yeah, Steven's a badass, man. Here, let's hear it for Steven, the end of Arrow, man. Yeah. I would, one of the collabs I did was a bottle called Dream, and you can't call it a champagne because it wasn't made in France. You have to call it a sparkling wine, but if I dived into any bubbly, it was a bottle I had made for my dad. I would dive into that one. And then your question about the organic nature versus the force feeding and the programming of it all. I think there's this old adage in the business that's we lead you guys. And you guys have invested so much money and time and interest and travel and equity in wrestling, because everyone in here is a big wrestling fan, that isn't true anymore. We don't lead you guys. We dance together, if that makes any sense. And that's what's important about putting these people out there. We have to be transparent and we have to be honest. If somebody catches fire, it's my responsibility, it's Dustin's responsibility, it's Brandy's responsibility, it's everyone's responsibility to make sure they earned themselves another shot at catching fire again. I mean, that's the beauty of this, and that's why it's so important who you cheer for and who you cheer against. And you guys are beyond heard at AEW, and I really appreciate you guys being here tonight and being part of this with us. I really do.
So I do have one last question for Brandy, actually. Woo. Because we're doing this show inside the Rhodes. We've got Cody and Dustin here, and when you met Cody, you ended up marrying into this dynasty, and now you're more than holding your own as a Rhodes. I want one Dusty story to finish us off, if possible.
Oh, I thought you were calling me a gold digger.
The opposite.
No. Ooh.
You got a lot of money out of this, babe. You did. Oh, it's all.
I'm gonna just let that go for now. I'll just
But
let
then I
that
got-
go,
then I
'cause
got
we're talking
Pharaoh.
about positive things. We're talking about pops, so I'll let
All
that
right,
go.
all right.
You know what? I guess I won't tell. Well, okay, I'll give you two. I'll give you a story and then kind of a sweet thing that people don't really know. And that's when I went back to the old company a second time, because I quit twice. I was really excited to work with Dusty, because at that point in time we were married, and I felt like I hadn't really had my chance to get to know him very much. And so I was like excited, nervous, wanting to work with him. And man, he took that opportunity to make me family very seriously. And I mean, from day one, he introduced me when I came in. This is my daughter, not daughter-in-law. This is my daughter. Keep your hands off. Don't look at her too much. Listen to everything she says. Help her if she asks for help. And he was always just, my daughter, my daughter, my daughter. And then he would actually pull me out of sessions to come sit with him in his office to just gossip about people. And most people didn't know that, but he would literally have me come in and I'd be like, what's wrong? What's up? What's going on? What do you need? Sit down. So, Carmella, who's she dating? I know she's dating somebody. And I'm like, is this why you pulled me out of training? He's like, you don't want to take any more bumps today. Let's talk about why, what's this person? I saw them at church. Do you think they're religious? Like, it was great. It was wonderful. Now, the funny story is we used to live in this house in Florida that had a step down going into the living room, but it was kind of hard to tell because it had one of those like half doors that was swinging.
It's a barn door.
Barn door, there you go. So when you opened it, there's an immediate step down, but if you didn't know that, there's an immediate step down. So Dusty went sauntering through holding my Chihuahua. My Chihuahua hates when people hold him. Hates it. He's been dropped before. He's not trusting. So he was already not happy to be being held by his grandpa, who is a large man anyway, and has him up very high. So he was already eyes bugging out of his head. So Dusty goes flying through, swings the door open. The step he forgot completely about goes spiraling down, chihuahua in hand, somehow. And I mean, like, my dog, he freaks out. So his eyes were like this big out of his head. Somehow he landed. Chihuahua never touched the ground. He took a face bump. And the Chihuahua did not touch the ground.
He took all of the bump and laid the ball across the goal line so that Monty literally never touched and then stepped out of his hands unarmed. And Pops was bigger. So when you're a bigger guy and you fall, it's rough. You never want to fall. But yes, Monterey Jack, he survived that fall. He survived.
Still kicking, 15 years old.
15, man, yeah.
A worker till the end, Dusty Rhodes. Have you guys had fun at Inside the Rhodes? Give it one more time for the natural Dustin Rhodes.
Yeah.
Brandy Rhodes. The next AEW World Heavyweight Champion, Cody. Any parting words for your audience?
One incredibly apropos and important thing that you all very much need to hear. I need to hear it every day. Brandon needs to hear it. Dustin needs to hear it. Kenny needs to hear it. And tomorrow we need to hear it. Let's make them say, Thank you guys so much. Enjoy your weekend. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
What an incredible job by the Rhodes family. Inside the Rhodes with Kenny McIntosh. Mark, that was outstanding.
It was an absolute thrill to hear, Scott. As someone who, like you, had the opportunity to know Dusty Rhodes and work with Dusty Rhodes in WCW, and I certainly grew up watching Dusty Rhodes, not just in the NWA, but he had those matches in WWF with superstar Billy Graham. He had a brief run in New York, and just so good to know the Rhodes story hasn't ended and is still having plenty to be written, many more chapters to take place. The next being Full Gear.
That's right.
Tomorrow night, pay-per-view, AWE, right here in Baltimore, Maryland. But up next, the one we've been waiting for all day.
That's right. I can't wait. 31 years ago, Jim Crockett Promotions sold everything to Ted Turner, to Turner Broadcasting. Since then, Jim Crockett, silent about this business. David Crockett hasn't exactly been doing interviews every week either. We're going to hear from Jim Crockett and David Crockett about the glory years of the Crockett Promotions when they were a tag team heavy group back in the 70s, through the 80s, through the buyout. It's all coming up next. The Crockett's are coming up at StarCast 4.